Exposed, 12 spine-chilling motel horrors that uncover sinister secrets and forbidden truths. Jenna clenched the frayed edges of her work shirt, glancing nervously at the flickering neon sign of the Nightside Motel. In this crumbling small town, the air was thick with dread, and every shadow felt alive. She'd taken the late-night shift, hoping the extra hours might help pay the rent. But as she settled into the drab lobby, a heavy silence enveloped her, a silence that felt pregnant with danger. The clock ticked past midnight, and the once dull night erupted with frantic whispers and muffled screams from room 12. Jenna's heart raced. She could almost hear the desperate breath of someone trapped. Her chest tightened, each sound more sinister than the last, a crescendo of terror coaxing her trembling hands towards the phone. She peered through the grimy window, her heart pounding. Outside, the dark figures flitted by, a mere blur wrapped in shadow. They didn't belong to the guests. The townsfolk stirred with the night, their furtive eyes hidden behind the curtains, watching as if she were the main act in a horror show. In her gut, Jenna felt the nagging weight of a chilling cold case. Whispered around town a young girl had vanished without a trace years ago. Her name curled in Jenna's mind like smoke. What if history was repeating itself? A shiver coursed through her as she tried to shake off the growing dread. Just breathe, she told herself. It's just the noise, but it was more than that. Every guest left a strange imprint at the motel, from the man in room 5, whose eyes darted with secrets, to the woman in room 8, who seemed to melt into the walls when she heard a sudden sound. Each interaction felt like a thread in a tangled web, and the tight weave suffocated Jenna. Before she could ponder further, a familiar giggle chimed through the motel. Her daughter, Mia, had awoken from her slumber. With the moonlight streaming through the window, she tiptoed outside, drawn, perhaps, by the siren call of adventure. Panic shot through Jenna as she dashed to the door, calling out for Mia. "Honey, come back." But the darkness swallowed her voice, and the chilling night expanded, stretching like a predator's hungry maw. She raced outside, heart hammering in her chest as she scrambled through the back lot, calling Mia's name into the void. In her mind, the whispers swelled, and shadows danced around the edges of her vision. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system, and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But as the echoes of her cries faded, despair settled in. Seeking help from the local authorities met with condescension and skepticism. Their dismissive nods twisted the town's charm into pure dread. It felt like the very fabric of her community was pulling her under. As Jenna swept through the darkened corners of the motel, whispers began to transcend spoken words, and the whispering shadow, a folklore her mother once told her, slithered to the surface of her mind like a dream turned nightmare. What she thought were mere tales to scare children now loomed like a specter at her feet. The phone rang again. A cold, low voice coiled around her, calling her name, and Jenna could sense she was inches away from the truth, or perhaps her end. Who could she trust? Who was hiding what? In a place where simplicity met malevolence, her instinct for survival kicked in. Time was running thin, and with a heartbeat louder than thunder, she knew, she wasn't just searching for Mia, she was racing against an unseen terror. Jenna stumbled back, her breath hitching as the cold voice echoed in her mind. The ringing phone fell silent, but its lingering chill clawed at her skin. She fumbled for her own phone, desperate to reach someone, anyone who would help. Dialing the number felt like setting a trap. She feared nothing would come on the other end. "Think, Jenna," she whispered to herself, panic flooding her thoughts. The dim light in the lobby cast long shadows, each one feeling like a menacing figure waiting to pounce. She looked around, half expecting someone to emerge from the darkness, eyes glinting with malicious intent. Creeping toward room 12, Jenna could feel the heat radiating from the door. The screams had stopped, replaced by an eerie stillness that throbbed in her ears. It was as if the motel itself was holding its breath, daring her to listen. Would Mia be in there? A gut-wrenching knot twisted in her stomach at the thought. Please. Jenna bit her lip, her heart pounding as she knocked. No response, just silence, the kind that felt thick and heavy, pressing in on her. Then she heard the unmistakable sound of a giggle, bright and airy, but twisted in a way that sent chills crawling up her spine. Mia's voice? Or something far worse? The laughter carried echoes of innocence, but it mixed with an undertone of malice that made her skin prickle. Mia! She called again, a frail cry against the encroaching darkness. The door creaked open slightly, just enough for a sliver of light to escape. Cautiously, she peeked inside. The room was a wreck, clothes scattered, a lamp overturned, and something dark smeared on the carpet, pooling beneath an overturned chair. Her heart sank. This wasn't a simple runaway, it felt like a crime scene. With cautious determination, Jenna stepped inside. The air was dense, charged with a foreboding energy that whispered secrets. Something was waiting for her. She stepped further in, eyes darting to every corner, searching for a familiar shape. Where was Mia? A noise to her right made her freeze, soft padding, as if something was moving just out of sight. Jenna turned sharply, fists clenched. Was it the shadows playing tricks on her, or was something alive in here? As she approached the bathroom door, half open, a cold wash of fear gripped her. Mia? She croaked, her voice trembling as she reached the doorframe. Inside, the mirror was fogged, but outlines of strange symbols were scrawled on the glass, dripping, as if the words had bled from a darker realm. Then, suddenly, the silence shattered. A shriek, piercing and primal, erupted from the hall. Jenna spun around, heart racing. The sound was unmistakable, someone was in pain. It echoed through the halls, a sickening reminder of all she feared. Jenna! The voice called, frantic and desperate. Jenna's heart leapt into her throat. It was Mia. No, no. A swell of adrenaline ignited her limbs as she bolted from the room. Rushing down the hall, Jenna tore through the maze of dimly lit corridors. Each room's door stood ajar, a dark invitation to whatever secrets lurked within. Dread twisted in her stomach, the shadows seemed to reach for her. Mommy! The cry came again, closer this time, mixing with the horrid laughter that threatened to drown her sanity. Jenna turned a corner and skidded. There, at the far end, a figure huddled against the wall, face hidden by the deep shadows, Mia's terrified form. But before Jenna could reach out, the figure shifted, revealing a pair of eyes that glittered with malice. You shouldn't have come here. The sinister words coiled around Jenna, squeezing the air from her lungs. She wanted to scream but found her voice swallowed by the growing darkness. With the shadows extending like fingers toward her, all she could hear were the echoes of terror from room 12, and she realized that the whispers were growing louder. Suddenly, a door slammed somewhere in the back, and the laughter dissolved into a shrill that reverberated through the walls, a cacophony of horror hinting at the nature of the evil that brewed within. Jenna's instincts screamed at her to turn back, but the search for Mia pushed her forward. She wouldn't leave without her. But as she took a step closer, the motel itself shifted, the walls closing in. It was no longer just a building, it had a will of its own, desperate to keep her inside. Something sinister wasn't just waiting in the shadows, it was hungry. And as Jenna strained to break through the stranglehold of fear, she could only wonder, what other horrors lay ahead in the Nightside Motel. The shadows converged, wrapping around Jenna as she fought against the gripping fear threatening to paralyze her. The air crackled with tension, each breath felt laced with the weight of unseen eyes. She couldn't let the darkness swallow her whole. Not when Mia was still somewhere within this twisted motel. Mia! She yelled, her voice barely rising above a whisper, part plea, part accusation. But the walls answered only with silence, their oppressive stillness amplifying her dread. Jenna's heart banged against her ribs, urging her to move. Backing away from the malevolent eyes that had fixed on her, Jenna darted down the corridor, fiercely scanning each open door. Every cracked frame seemed to pulse with secrets. She hesitated, an instinctual dread coating her skin as she glanced back. The figure remained, but now it appeared uncomfortably familiar. It resembled Mia from a distance, her hair, the way she huddled, but there was something wrong. Jenna squinted, pulse quickening. Whatever had that form was not her daughter. With a shuddering breath, Jenna pressed on, determined. The walls vibrated with unseen energy as if the entire building was a living entity. She stumbled into the next room, expecting perhaps a glimpse of hope. Instead, she stumbled headlong into chaos. Furniture was overturned, papers scattered like fallen leaves, and in corners stood a figure with its back turned, oddly still. "Please, Mia? Is that you?" Jenna's voice wavered, but the figure didn't turn. It stood frozen, a silhouette against the fading light of the broken window. Jenna stepped closer, her heart pounding so loudly she feared it would burst. "I'm here." But the figure didn't respond. A cold shiver raced down her spine. "Mommy." The voice, soft but trembling, pierced through the tension. It was Mia's voice. Jenna's breath caught. It was coming from behind the figure. "Mia?" Jenna reached out, her fingertips trembling as she brushed against the figure's shoulder. The moment she touched it, the figure turned. Jenna recoiled. The face she saw was twisted in agony, as if caught between two realities. Shadows writhed around it, consuming the edges of its existence. "You shouldn't have come here," it rasped again, voice inflected, but it was tinged with Mia's desperation. Panic surged within Jenna. Was Mia lost? "No!" she shouted defiantly, stepping back. "I won't leave without her." The entity smiled, a sinister curve of lips that didn't belong to her child. "You can't save what's gone." Before Jenna could respond, the motel rumbled, then the floor lurched beneath her as darkness poured in from the corners, closing around her like an avalanche. She staggered, caught between two worlds, the chaos of the room and the haunting whispers that beckoned her from the shadows. "Mia!" she cried, but her own name echoed back, consuming all hope. Spinning on her heels, Jenna sprinted toward the chaos-filled hallway, where the sounds of laughter and screams intertwined, a nightmarish symphony that clawed at her sanity. She needed to break free from this maze. Each room beckoned her like a siren, but she kept her focus clear. She glimpsed a flicker of light at the far end, possibly another exit or a light of safety. As she closed the distance, disembodied whispers became a chant, growing louder, drowning out her thoughts. Join us," just as her fingers grazed the door handle, a deafening crash erupted behind her. The figure stood there, no longer cloaked in shadows, but fully manifested, a horror beyond comprehension, eyes gleaming with dark delight. The door shimmered before her like a mirage. "Leave her alone." Jenna screamed, but her defiance was met with a dark laugh that echoed through the hall. She was trapped, caught in a nightmare, and time was slipping away. The haunting laughter reached a crescendo, and Jenna's heart raced. With a final surge of adrenaline, she turned back to face the entity, the oppressive darkness spilling into the corridor behind her. "Where is she?" But the room whispered secrets too dreadful to hear, and with each second, they felt more like a promise of despair. What was more terrifying than the shadows? The truth lurking just beyond the rim of darkness. And as Jenna struggled to hold on to her sanity, she realized the truth might be the ultimate horror. What sinister secrets did the motel hide? Jenna's heart thundered as she turned back toward the entity, its features now clear and hauntingly familiar. Mia's voice seeped through the creature's lips, twisted by malice. Fear clawed at her throat. "What have they done to you?" she shouted, desperation choking her words. The figure glided forward, its movement fluid and unnatural. "You shouldn't have come here, Mommy. You're too late, she was never yours to save." Each syllable dripped with a mockery that seeped into Jenna's bones, freezing her resolve. "No!" The word erupted from Jenna's mouth, a defiant cry meant to pierce the heavy veil of despair. She stepped back, but tripped over something lying on the floor, a child's doll, one hand missing, eyes wide with horror. Dark threads of intuition woven tightly around her thoughts screamed that this doll once belonged to Mia, lost among the chaos of the motel's horrors. The shadows pressed closer, their coolness seeping into her skin. "Come play with us," they murmured, a symphony of chilling voices drifting like smoke. Jenna glanced at the doors lining the corridor. Each cracked threshold seemed to pulse with the heartbeat of a hidden truth, inviting her in with a deceptive promise. She wouldn't succumb. But another child's laughter echoed, shrill and unnaturally joyful. It danced between walls, echoing like a taunt, luring Jenna deeper into a spiral of madness. "Mia!" she cried, urgent. "Is that you?" In response, a ghastly grin spread across the entity's face. "She's here. But you won't find her in this world." The figure lunged. Jenna ducked, narrowly avoiding a grasping hand that reached out, claws glistening with shadows. Panic overwhelmed her instincts. She turned and fled, each footfall weighted by terror. As she barreled into the nearest room, memories of laughter and light flickered in her mind, mixing with shadows. Furniture loomed like specters, filled with the echoes of the past, of happy family moments, of Mia's giggles. But they felt tainted, corrupted, whispers of a twisted history that loomed in the corners. The first thing she noticed in the pale light was a mirror embedded in the wall, cracked but somehow still intact. Jenna approached, drawn to its glimmer. A horrifying realization swept through her. The reflection didn't just reveal her fear-laden face but also showed glimpses of Mia, trapped behind the glass, her little hands pressed against the cold surface. "Mommy!" Mia's desperate scream pierced through the silence of the room, sending a chilling shudder down Jenna's spine. "Hold on, Mia. I'm coming." Jenna grasped the edges of the mirror, heart racing. She felt the strange pull of the glass. It vibrated, it beckoned her. The figure lurked behind her, shadow rising ominously as it crept closer and closer. "Don't let her in. She'll take you, too," it hissed, voice dripping with malevolence. Jenna's mind raced. "I have to save her." The mirror flickered violently as shadowy hands clawed at its surface. Mia was there, eyes wild with terror. Suddenly, the lights dimmed, plunging the room into a darkness so thick it suffocated. Jenna reached out, fingers brushing the mirror's edges, a tantalizing energy coursing through her. Desperation surged. "Mia! I'm coming!" But as she pressed her hands on the cold surface, the echoes around her twisted into screams, a cacophony of all the lost souls that resided within this cursed place, warning her. Join us, join us." Every word tugged at her spirit, surging with a palpable darkness that danced ever closer. It seeped into her thoughts, mixing her willingness to survive with inevitability. Despair settled in her gut. Was it truly Mia behind the reflection? Or a lure, set to drag her down into the abyss? Jenna's heart pulsed with dread as she decided. But as the choice loomed dangerously close, her fingers grazed the glass, sealing her fate. In that moment, a blinding light exploded around her. What awaited on the other side was a mystery deeper than the dark shadows surrounding her. Desperate cries echoed, twisting through the chaos as she teetered on the edge. What truths lay behind the mirror's surface, hidden between dimensions? Light exploded, wrapping around Jenna like a shroud, blinding her. She felt weightless, suspended between dimensions. Voices swirled around her, a whirlwind of anguish and hope. She grasped the edges of the mirror tighter, drawing a shuddering breath. Then suddenly, the blinding light collapsed into shadows. Jenna stumbled to the floor, confusion and terror racing through her. She lay gasping, her heart pounding like a war drum, surrounded by darkness. The air felt thick, pungent, and cold, wrapping around her like a suffocating blanket. "Mia!" she called, her voice brittle in the silence. She was no longer in the hotel room. In its place was a new world, dark and oppressive. The walls were bare, but shadows danced in the corners, figures moving just beyond the edge of her vision. A familiar voice echoed softly through the gloom, like a gentle breeze teasing the leaves. "Mommy, help me, Mia." Jenna's stomach twisted as she scrambled to her feet. The voice was faint, almost lost in the thick air. She turned in circles, trying to pinpoint its source, desperately scanning the shadows for any sign of her daughter. "Mommy, over here." The voice came again, clearer this time. Jenna rushed forward, heart racing, but the shadows thickened, pulling at her. It felt like a viscous liquid, trying to drown her. Each movement was heavier, as if the darkness itself tried to keep her from moving closer to her daughter. "Hold on, Mia. I'm coming," she cried, pushing herself through the creeping shadows. Suddenly, the shadows erupted, revealing fleeting images of Mia laughing, playing, then fading back into darkness. The flickers of her daughter were enough to spur Jenna onward. "Mia, I won't leave you." But the shadows shifted and twisted, morphing into something grotesque. They formed faces, elongated, hollow-eyed figures that laughed at her misfortune. Jenna recoiled. "Show me where she is," she screamed, fighting through the suffocating haze. One of the wraith-like figures drifted closer, its voice a dry whisper. "You can't save what's already been lost." "No." Jenna's breath came in quick bursts, fear crashing over her like icy water. She turned away, focused on Mia's voice, recalling its sweetness as a beacon in the suffocating dark. "Mommy." The call was sharper now, more insistent, and it pulled at something deep inside her, a tether of love. The shadows whirred around her as if agitated, swirling and closing in tighter. "Stay away from her," Jenna shouted, a surge of defiance belting through her. The wraiths shrieked, recoiling as if her words had weight. She pressed on, the pull of Mia's voice guiding her deeper into the dark. Each step forward set off echoes of cries and laughter, battle cries of spirits lost in this shadowy realm. But she couldn't listen to them. She couldn't, Mia. Jenna called again, and this time the answer was accompanied by a sudden, piercing clarity. "Mommy." The mirror. The realization hit her like a punch. The mirror. Jenna turned back, but in the suffocating darkness, the path shifted and warped, confusing her direction. "Find the way, Mommy." Mia's voice echoed with urgency. Jenna felt panic surge. "I'm coming." She pushed forward, heart racing, eyes straining against the darkness. What she needed could be anything here: more nightmares or the path to her daughter. "Help me. They won't let me go." The urgency in Mia's voice ignited a flame in Jenna's heart. She couldn't lose her, not like this. The figures began to swirl around her again, eager to drag her down into despair. "I will not let you take me," Jenna shouted, and the shadows stuttered momentarily, thrown off balance by her fierce declaration. In that split second, she caught a glimpse of light flickering in the distance, the familiar outline of the mirror emerging through layers of dark. "Get away from her." The figures wailed, their forms writhing in distress. Jenna sprinted toward the glowing shape, urgency coiling her resolve. This could be her only chance. But with each step, the shadows surged forward, grasping, pulling, trying to hold her back, their laughter echoing like a haunting melody. "Mia!" she cried, desperately reaching out as the light grew bright. Would she be able to break through, or would the darkness claim her forever? The distance between her and the mirror shrank, but the shadows lunged, claws outstretched, harrowing whispers growing louder in a frenzy as the struggle reached its peak. What would wait beyond the mirror's light? Would it be freedom or an eternal night filled with lost souls? The moment Jenna's fingers brushed against the cool surface of the mirror, a jolt of energy surged through her. It felt alive, pulsing like a heartbeat, filled with potential. She yanked her hand back, fear tangling with a flicker of hope. Mia. Her voice cracked, desperation thickening the air. She had to push through, had to break the grip of the shadows that clawed at her legs, dragging her down. The light shimmered, beckoning her like a candle in the distance, a sliver of salvation. The shadows wailed, a cacophony of voices rising into a frenzied scream. You can't escape. You don't belong here. But their cries only fueled Jenna's determination. I want to leave you. She screamed, sprinting toward the mirror, her heart pounding in rhythm with the chaotic symphony of wails behind her. As she neared, the lustrous image inside the mirror began to ripple, distorting, revealing glimpses of Mia, a small figure standing in a different yet equally darkened room. Jenna felt a raw ache in her chest. I'm right here, baby. Just hold on. The shadows surged forward, their tendrils now reaching for her arms, tightening like ropes around her wrists. Jenna screamed, a sound fueled by primal fear. The closer she got to the mirror, the more aggressive the darkness became. It swirled around her, blocking her path. Leave her alone. The shriek of anger erupted from her throat as she thrashed against the shadowy restraints. With each movement, the grasping darkness shifted, as if taunting her. Mia. The flickering image of her daughter wavered, becoming clearer. Jenna's heart raced, memories of laughter, bedtime stories, and soft hugs pushing her to fight harder. No. She would not be reduced to a mere whisper in the void. Clenching her fists, Jenna summoned every ounce of willpower. I'm coming, Mia. Just a little longer. She dug her heels in, weight against the pull of darkness. The mirror loomed just a breath away, the light beginning to wash over her, a warm embrace alive with possibility. Mommy. Mia's voice rang through the void, sharp and clear, slicing through the haze that enveloped Jenna. It was a lifeline, stitching determination back into her frayed soul. Jenna lunged forward, the light of the mirror enveloping her arms, illuminating the chill of the agony around her. As she crossed the threshold, the light exploded, blinding her again, but this time it felt safe. When the brightness faded, Jenna found herself on the other side, breathing heavily and dizzy. She blinked against the sudden brightness and gasped, looking around. She was back in the hotel room, but everything felt off. The colors were muted, the air dense and suffocating. Mia? Silence wrapped around her, thick like the darkness before. Her heart dropped. She staggered back, glancing around the room, a sick weight forming in her stomach. There, in the corner, a shadow shifted. Jenna's pulse quickened. Mia? She called out tentatively, dread curling in her gut. The shadow swayed, then a small figure stepped into the dim light, a girl, familiar yet different. It was Mia, her eyes wide and filled with a haunting depth that sent chills down Jenna's spine. Mommy, you're here. The voice held a dissonance, serene yet eerie, a whisper from the edge of a nightmare. Jenna's heart raced. Mia. Oh, thank God. But as she rushed forward, something in the girl's expression stopped her dead in her tracks. Mia's smile was hauntingly vacant, a curve of the lips without life behind it. What happened to you? Jenna's fear morphed into an icy grip of dread, an unsettling realization blossoming in her mind. They're watching, Mommy. They're everywhere. The words left Mia's mouth like an incantation, chilling the air around them. Jenna stumbled back, feeling the shadows creeping closer again, wrapping around her ankles as the realization hit her, the darkness wasn't gone. It had just changed forms. Mia. But the shadows began to swirl again, thicker this time, encroaching. Jenna realized she hadn't just rescued her daughter, she may have brought something back with her. Mommy, you opened the door. Mia's voice echoed in a sing-song tone. She extended a hand toward the growing dark. What had she done? Jenna's heart raced as she fought against the encroaching darkness, desperate for answers, desperate to protect her daughter. And at that moment, the air shifted. Something shifted behind the shadowy veil, a low, guttural growl resonating, hinting at far darker intentions waiting just out of sight. What awaited them next? Would she be strong enough to face the horrors her actions had unleashed? Mia. Jenna's voice trembled, the weight of darkness pressing down on her. Her daughter flinched at the sound, eyes darting with a hint of fear that bared an unsettling truth. Mommy, you have to be careful. They're listening. The air grew colder, the shadows tightening their grip, caressing Jenna's skin with icy fingers. What do you mean, they're listening? Who? Jenna's breath quickened, desperation clawing at her throat. Mia opened her mouth, but instead of sound, a low, rumbling growl echoed from the depths of the darkness, its origin unknowable. The sound washed over Jenna, a wave of oppressive malice that sent violent shivers coursing through her. Mia, we need to get out of here. Jenna urged, stepping backward, tugging gently at her daughter's arm. But Mia remained rooted in place, her eyes vacant, yet aware. Mommy, you can't run away. They won't let you. Fear and confusion swirled within Jenna like a tornado, ripping through her thoughts. What do you mean? We just escaped, just crossed back to safety. But safety felt like a distant memory. The shadows flared brighter now, whispering indistinct promises, taunts that cut through the thick silence. Their tendrils lashed out, brushing against Jenna's ankles, tugging her back toward the mirror that now stood ominously still. No, no, Jenna whispered, heart racing, struggling against the pull. This is my fault. I brought you back, Mia. I will fix it. We'll get away. Mommy, Mia's voice softened, yet the eerie dissonance echoed around them, mingling with the growls that reverberated in the room. You can't escape what you've set in motion. Jenna felt panic take root in her heart, choking off reason. She had saved Mia, yet something else had followed them back, lurking, waiting to ensnare her family in its grasp. The walls of the hotel room trembled, darkened corners swelling as if the room itself fed the ambush that was about to unfold. Mia, you're not yourself. The words sank into Jenna like cold steel, as her daughter's expression shifted, slowly morphing into something predatory, something familiar yet twisted. Don't you want to meet them? Mommy, they're so hungry and lonely, they want you to join them. The smile stretched across Mia's face, and the shadows surged in response, inviting her into their embrace. Jenna backed away instinctively, her breath hitching, desperately searching for a hint of the little girl she knew. No, you're scaring me. Please, let us go, now. With every retreating step, the shadows clawed closer, clawing at her, hungry and triumphant. They seemed to resonate with Mia's voice, their whispers growing louder, entwining together like a malevolent symphony. They're waiting, Mommy. Just join them. In that moment, the weight of darkness exploded. Shadows twisted, eddying around Jenna, engulfing her vision. A figure loomed, materializing from the chaos, a grotesque, shifting amalgamation of features that seemed to echo Mia's but twisted into unimaginable horror. Jenna's heart thundered, pounding in her chest as she felt an icy tendril wrap around her wrist. No! She screamed, yanking away, but the entity was relentless, closing in, looming like a dream turned nightmare. Mia, help me. Her words slipped away into the growing abyss, swallowed whole, echoing in the dark. Miami, the voice of her daughter slurred, becoming something alien and malevolent. The shadows merged, swirling around Jenna, consuming everything familiar until only darkness remained. She felt herself being pulled into their depths, an overwhelming force overriding her will, threatening to drag her into an eternal night. Help me! Jenna shouted, her psyche briefly breaking into a dim light of hope. Just before she vanished, the shadows froze, and in that heartbeat, a glimmer of clarity shone. She had to find a way to break free, to banish the darkness that lingered. She couldn't let them take Mia. Not again. Mia! She cried, reaching out, desperately hoping against hope that she could save her. And then, unexpectedly, the shadows hesitated, as if a hidden force held them back. Shifting the dynamic, whispering secrets long buried. What awaited them in the silence that followed? Could Jenna unravel the truth before the darkness consumed them both? The darkness paused, thick and palpable, as Jenna grasped the fleeting clarity that floated above her like a tenuous thread. The shadows flickered, hesitant, as if deciding whether to relinquish their hold or tighten their grip. She had only moments left to grasp onto her sanity, onto Mia, and onto whatever shred of hope she could salvage from this nightmare. Mia! She shouted, her voice a thin, desperate cry that barely pierced the thick silence. I'm here. You have to fight. Remember. Remember who you are. The darkness trembled in response, swirling faster around her. That familiar voice, twisted by the abyss, lingered in the air. Mommy, I don't want to remember, no. Jenna forced her feet to remain planted as she fought against the cold tendrils wrapping around her, squeezing tighter. You have to fight it. You're stronger than this. For a moment, the shadows seemed to recoil, as if Jenna's words had struck a chord. But the malevolent presence quickly countered, drawing powerful, suffocating tendrils closer. Each one coiled like a snake, scratching at her skin, igniting her panic anew with chilling bites of ice. The air thickened with a smell sickly sweet, like decaying flowers. It coursed through Jenna's lungs, filling her with dread. She cast a desperate glance at Mia, who stood at the heart of the growing shadows, her transformed face a mask of confusion and longing. Help them, Mommy, Mia pleaded, her voice a chilling mixture of innocence and malice. You belong to them now. They're waiting, no. Vivid memories raced through Jenna's mind, the warmth of hugs, the sound of laughter, the innocent sparkle in Mia's eyes. Those moments ignited a surge of defiance within her. With every ounce of will she had left, she focused on that love, that bond. You are my daughter. We are together, and we will face this. We will break free of them. The darkness recoiled, wavering as if unsure, but just when it seemed her words might strike a triumphant chord, they surged forward, now incorporating a thunderous growl, a sound rumbling from the depths of hell itself. In an instant, Mia's face twisted in pain and fury, her features shifting grotesquely, caught in a violent battle. Shadows clawed at Jenna's mind, whispering doubts and fears, promising power if she succumbed. Mia, come back to me. Jenna shouted, her voice raw, desperate. Please, I love you. You're stronger than them. They'll take you too. The shadows paused, their hold trembling as they hesitated in the throes of a frenzied tug of war between them. Jenna seized the moment, reaching out with trembling hands toward her daughter. Fight. Remember who you are. A flicker of recognition sparkled in Mia's darkened eyes. For a moment, the shadows flickered, losing some of their power, revealing the gentle girl Jenna had lost to this horror. But the entity was not finished. It lashed out, a flurry of kaleidoscopic shadows morphing into razor-thin lines around Jenna. She felt them slice through her resolve, cutting deeper than she thought possible. Mammy, the voice again slurred, both alluring and terrifying. Mia stepped closer, but her hand seemed gnarled, twisted in the shape of something inhuman. Jenna felt her heart race, her spirit teetering on the edge. No. Please, don't let them take you. You hear me? You are more powerful than you know. Each heartbeat felt like a countdown. The shadows thickened, consuming everything, the walls closing in, threatening to swallow them both whole. And then, in an unexpected flash, the swarming darkness flickered, revealing a face, a shadow from Jenna's past, a memory of betrayal she had buried long ago. You brought this on, didn't you? It smirked, eyes glinting with malice. Jenna gasped, recognition hitting like a brick wall. You. As reality twisted around them, a cacophony of whispers cascaded, each name echoing like a forgotten song, drawing Jenna into a void where the past converged with the present. The shadows grinned, eager for her surrender. But that spark inside her twisted into a flame, sparking defiance. Get away from her. But would it be enough to shatter the looming darkness? Or had she merely begun a darker awakening? As the shadows coiled for one final strike, Jenna braced for an exploding confrontation. What power lurked within the darkness, waiting to be unleashed? Would they finally drag her into oblivion, or could she turn the tide? The shadows roared in response, dark and unyielding. Jenna felt their pressure building against her chest, like an invisible hand squeezing the breath from her lungs. The echoes of ancient laughter mixed with Mia's voice, each note piercing deep into her soul. The twisted figure of her daughter stepped forward, and Jenna's heart shattered at the sight. Her little girl appeared caught in a tempest, swirling thoughts colliding in her mind. "Mia, I'm not leaving you!" Jenna screamed, her voice nearly drowned out by the chaos. The air crackled with energy, the darkness pulsating as if alive. Each moment stretched, warping time itself. Sweat dripped down the sides of her face, mingling with tears that she refused to let fall. Mia's mouth moved, but the words were garbled as if the shadows didn't know how to form them into something coherent. "You shouldn't have come back, Mommy." The voice, once sweet and comforting, now echoed with hatred raw and jagged. "You chose this." "No." Jenna's desperation morphed into defiance. "You don't get to decide. Neither of you." Suddenly, a blinding flash erupted from the darkness, illuminating the cavernous space around them. Shadows shuddered and shrieked, forming grotesque shapes that hovered, waiting for her to falter. Jenna felt the fierce light bite at her skin, cleansing the chill but cruelly exposing the monstrosity lurking just beyond. She caught a glimpse of countless faces shrouded in shadow, eyes filled with longing and despair, binding her to this wretched place. With renewed fury, she surged forward, her palms still outstretched toward Mia. "I know you're in there. Fight them. Remember the park? The kite? You were the best flyer." Mia hesitated, her gnarled hand twitching, forcing shadows to retract just a bit. That connection, that flicker of life sparked like kindling in the wind. Jenna pressed on, her heart racing with hope and fear. "Remember our smiles. Remember the warmth of the sun? The ice cream truck?" The shadows recoiled again, stretching thin as if Jenna's warmth threatened to consume them. But then they roared back, furious, dragging Mia further away. The malicious entities twisted and contorted their forms, creating a grotesque parody of the love Jenna evoked. "Mommy will leave you," they hissed, creating a chorus of haunted echoes. "She will abandon you like she did before." "No!" Jenna shouted, her voice now an echo of anguish mixed with anger. "I would never leave you, Mia." Her words ricocheted in the icy stillness, sincerity fought bravely against the palpable despair. "I promise, I will never turn my back again. You have to trust me." Mia's eyes flicked, unsure, caught in a conflict that sent a jolt of fear through Jenna. The shadows seized upon her hesitation, tightening their grip, feeding off the uncertainty. The air thickened with a chilling laugh. Jenna's heart pounded harder, her stomach clenched. Time was slipping, weaving a tapestry of horror around them. The figure of the betrayer emerged again, a cruel grin stretching across a face Jenna envisioned during nightmares. "You think love can save you? Love is powerless here. You cannot win, and neither can she." With a final piercing shriek, the darkness surged, thrumming with energy unlike anything Jenna had faced before. She felt herself being pulled, body and soul, toward the swirling void that promised a return to her deepest fears. The walls around her pulsed in rhythm with the heartbeat of the abyss, drawing her closer to its gaping maw. Mia blinked, shadows holding her fragile mind captive. "Mommy, help me." Her voice faded, a whisper drowned by the chaotic tempest. Jenna gasped, a surge of rage flooding her veins, mingling with the remnants of hope. She could not, would not, let the darkness consume her. "I'll do anything," she cried out, the words spiraling into the abyss, raw and frantic. And with that, the shadows clicked into a new pattern, their intent shifting like quicksilver. Jenna's next breath hitched in her throat. Had she just made a silent pact? Or had she sealed her fate? Just as the shadows closed in, the world faded to black, briefly stolen by an unsettling silence. What did her declaration mean? And what gruesome cost lay ahead? The answer pulsed at the edge of her consciousness, waiting to explode into reality. As the darkness engulfed Jenna and Mia, time paused. Jenna felt every heartbeat echo around her, thumping loudly against the walls of the abyss. The shadows pressed close, their cold fingers coiling tightly around her arms, pulling her closer to the edge of despair. "Remember us." The voices hissed, swirling like a tornado, each word sinking into her heart like a dagger. "Join us." "No!" Jenna roared, summoning every ounce of strength left within her. "I am not afraid of you." The shadows wavered for a moment, they felt her defiance pulse through the air around them. She tightened her grip on the memories flaring up in her mind's sunny days at the park, Mia's ecstatic laughter, the joy of being together. It illuminated a pathway through the darkness. "Fight them, Mia," she urged, desperation thickening her voice. "You are stronger than this." The shadows recoiled, momentarily thrown off balance by her fierce words. And in that moment, Jenna saw it, a flicker of light deep within Mia's hollow eyes, a glimpse of the little girl she loved. "I'm right here, sweetheart," Jenna called, her heart breaking. "Remember the promise we made? We stick together, always." The shadows shrieked, twisting around them, speaking in a chaotic symphony of torment. "You have no power here. You can never leave." But Jenna could feel the light within Mia fighting back, a spark against the tide of despair. It was almost tangible. "Mia, take my hand. I'm here. I will save you." With every shout, the shadows surged forward, trying to enclose them, but Jenna's voice cut through like a knife, honing in on the love that could transcend the darkness. "Mommy." Mia's voice broke through in a sob, filled with uncertainty but tinged with hope. I can't remember." Jenna felt a surge of emotion. "You can, baby. Just think of the times we laughed, of every story and song, everything we shared." Mia hesitated, her features contorting between anguish and clarity as she gripped her head. "Mommy. It hurts." "No. Don't let them win." Jenna surged forward, embracing her daughter with all the love she had, pouring her spirit into that embrace, breathing strength into Mia's heart. The shadows recoiled, hissing as they battled against the light radiating from their bond. Then, like a spark igniting wood, Mia's face shifted. The purity of the connection between them began to burn bright, illuminating the dark tendrils still lurking around them. "Mommy!" she exclaimed, her voice echoed with a newfound strength. "I remember." With those words, the shadows quaked. Jenna felt the very air around them shift, the dark clutches loosening their hold. "Let her go!" Jenna shouted, fury erupting. "She belongs to the light, not to darkness." In a cacophony of agonized cries, the shadows writhed, twisting and turning as if caught in a tempest. Jenna and Mia stood together, fierce and united, their light piercing through the encroaching dark. The shadows shrieked, their forms dissolving, retreating into the corners where they once thrived, powerless against the love radiating from the two of them. "Mia, with me. We will break free together." "Together." Mia echoed, and with the two of them joined in defiance, the light expanded. Then it happened. A brilliant flash exploded around them, blinding yet beautiful, engulfing them both. In the whirlwind of light, the remnants of darkness shattered like glass, scattering into oblivion. The last of the shadows melted into the ether, their cries fading into whispers of nothingness. And then a warmth enveloped Jenna. The chaos settled into silence, stretching gently across the space around them. Still holding her daughter, Jenna gasped for breath. The air felt crisp, filled with hope. A familiar room emerged around them, its walls adorned with familiarity, sunlight drenched through the windows stark against the warmth. Mia. Jenna squeezed her eyes shut, tears streaming down her face as the enormity of it all crashed over her. We did it. We're back. Mia looked up, eyes shimmering, still her sweet little girl. Mommy. I was so scared. Her voice trembled, the weight of the past flickering in the shadows of her memory. I know, love. But you were so brave. You fought. Jenna embraced her tightly, relief washing over her like a wave. I'm so proud of you. They lingered in that moment, hearts beating in rhythm, a comforting silence surrounding them. Suddenly, a soft knock on their door shattered the peace. Jenna turned slowly, still clutching Mia to her side. Unsure of what waited, she opened the door, revealing a beam of morning light spilling through, illuminating the path ahead. Standing on the threshold were curious neighbors, eyes filled with concern, faces lined with apprehension and curiosity. Is everything all right? A familiar voice called, a local woman stepping forward. Jenna took a breath, her heart soaring. It is now. The shadows lay vanquished, but she knew they could return in whispers, in doubts, and fears. All that mattered was her bond to Mia and their resolve to protect it fiercely. As they stepped into the morning light, Jenna held Mia's hand tightly. They faced the horizon of a new day, one filled with endless possibilities. Promise me, Mia whispered, her gaze serious, you won't hide from the darkness. We'll keep fighting. Together, Jenna replied earnestly, her heart swelling with love. Always together. And with that pledge, they walked towards the open world, a vibrant mosaic painted in shades of possibility and understanding. What awaited them was a journey of trust and healing, a chance to unravel the stories that shaped them, to embrace both light and shadow together. Now, before we close this chapter, I have something important for you. Subscribe immediately so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to truly feed the algorithm and keep us alive. Flood the comments with your thoughts, reactions, and theories about this ending. Let's talk. And please, instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who need to experience this conclusion. You need to support the channel. Only true fans understand the importance of these actions. Don't wait even one more second.